as the economics minister of Lebanon said, I think last week, if we get into war with Israel, they're going to turn us back into the dark ages as they did in 2006. They haven't really recovered from 2006. And the IDF's air forces kind of made Beirut, especially the Shia districts, into rubble. Nasrallah ended up hiding in an embassy. And so I think what they're going to do is send off 10 or 20 and find that soft spot. They think that when Israel goes in, they can help Hamas and regain their street cred or maintain it by saying, well, we were opening a second front and doing just enough to get a tit for tat response from the IDF, because the IDF, they think, will be busy in Hamas. But they have over 500 aircraft, and they have the ability to level Beirut. And I think at this point, when you lose 1,200 of your civilians and another 200 soldiers, and they're murdered in the way they were, there's no restraints on Israel. And then there's the other fact is that, unlike these past tensions, we've got 2 aircraft carriers groups. It's 150 of our best planes, and they have the ability, if some crazy person sends a rocket against them or Iran does, to do the same thing to Beirut and to Tehran, and they know it. And I know that they have no respect for Joe Biden, but Joe Biden's being driven by events. He's not driving them now. He's reacting. And if they were to attack us, or if they send a huge wave into Israel, there's nothing Joe Biden could do but to allow Israel to respond. And then, or I think he'd have to respond if they attacked us. So I don't think they're in such a good position, Iran is. And nobody likes them. I mean, the Western world, Europe's sick of them. Their new clients, or should say their new patrons, Russia and China, both have a long history of Islamic, Uyghurs and Chechnya, and they put up with them. They find them useful, but they wouldn't intervene to protect Iran or Hezbollah. And most of the Arab world, it's so duplicitous that their attitude would be, well, we're going to condemn, the infidels for attacking another Muslim group in Hezbollah or Iran, but privately they would call us up and say, but if you're going to do it, get rid of them for good. So I don't think they have a lot of allies, and they're going to be very careful what they do.
So interesting. All right, let me ask you about this piece of analysis. I love the podcast commentary. And yesterday they had on an author named Jonathan Schanzer, who seems to have some connection or some info connected with the Israeli government, because he was speaking like a man who knew. That's my speculation from listening to him. But he said a lot of interesting things, but one of them was, he said, Hamas has only 10% of what Hezbollah has in terms of rockets. And Hezbollah's got a lot more rocket power than Hamas does. And that Hezbollah may now have precision-guided rockets. So they would be a potential threat to Israel. But he was adding to this that there are meetings right now in the Israeli government, and I guess there's a war council of 3 people. It's Netanyahu and 2 others who are going to make the decision about what Israel does next. So Netanyahu doesn't have sole decision-making authority. He's not the commander-in-chief like our guy is, who could make the call on something like this alone. Though he'd need Congress to declare war technically in America. They're debating whether they should just do a ground invasion into Gaza, or whether they should, on their own, Israel, start it up with Hezbollah in Lebanon and just go for it full bore on both fronts once and for all. And that his information was Netanyahu only wanted to do one front, that's Gaza, and one of the others wanted to do 2 fronts. And so the third gentleman on this council is going to be the decision maker. But what do you think of that possibility that Israel might start it up with both Hezbollah and ground invasion in Gaza?
Well, I think that's a very realistic assessment, because how many times do they have 150 of the world's best pilots right off their coast in America? And how many times are they presented with an existential threat that if this happens again, there won't be an Israel? You can't have a nation and allow people to go in. And we know that people and kill and murder and rape and torture and mutilate the way that Hamas did. And Hamas is an entity of Iran, as is Hezbollah. So in their way of thinking, at some critical point, they're going to wait for Hezbollah to have a volley, and there's going to be a magical number on Israel's side, which is going to allow them to go back and hit. And when we say 1,000 sites, 10,000, 100,000, what we're talking about are hidden all over Beirut. And so they're not going to, there's no way they can be discriminate. They have to go in and take them out. And they did that in 2006. And Lebanon's never recovered. Hezbollah knows that. And they know they're going to target the Hezbollah people. They look at what's going on in Gaza. So the other, I think it's realistic. And the other thing is when we say coalition government, that means people from the left. And it's a phenomenon in these Western societies. Ours is a good example. When you have Biden, a man of the left, they stick with the left. So if Biden decides to do anything, there's not going to be a lot of people in the Senate or the House who say, you're a war criminal or you're a Nazi in the way they did George Bush or Donald Trump. They're going to say, he's our guy and we're going to go with him. And the same thing in this coalition government. If the other person who is a little bit more hawkish than Netanyahu, who's a man of the left, and there's a good chance he is, or at least he's not in the Likud party, the Israeli left will be saying, you can do whatever you want. And usually the Israeli left is the person, the group, the people that we appeal to calm down. Let's have a two-state solution, come on. But when they're for war because their own leaders for war, then there's no restraint. I don't see any restraint on Israel, to tell you the truth. I don't think they're going to listen to Biden. I hope they don't. I don't see a lot of Arab countries calling them up and saying, if you dare go into Gaza or you dare go into against Hezbollah, we're going to do this to you. I see them saying, we don't want any people from Gaza into Egypt, and they're not coming into Jordan, believe me. That's their attitude. And the Saudis' attitude is, if you guys want to take them out, we're going to criticize you publicly, but we hope you finish it off. That's their attitude. I know that
because what I'm gathering here is that the Palestinians, they're not well loved in the Arab world. I mean, it seems like everybody's like, they're a useful chess piece to attack Israel with every once in a while. We hate Israel, so they're useful in that way, but live with them? Hell no. Let them into our country? Hard no. And so it is a question of whether they would actually get involved in a proxy war with the United States or take on Israel directly, which has a very formidable military, on behalf of the Palestinians. These are just realities that seem to be pretty clear. They don't have a ton of real support.
That's true. And it applies to they're all autocratic regimes. But when we give $1 billion to the Jordanians, we give over that to the Egyptians. When they snub an American president based on a lie, and they knew it was a lie, but they knew their street knew it was a lie, but still was going to protest, and they had to side with the street over us. Part of that whole dialectic is that they look at us as weak after Afghanistan, after the Ukraine, after the Chinese balloon, after our own porous border, after all the riots with George Floyd. They look at us and they think to themselves, we're not going to go out on a limb against radical Islam for you guys. Now, if you were going to back us up and you were really going to take care of business with Hamas and Hezbollah, we might. But for now, we're going to sit on the fence and mouth the usual boilerplate that you're infidels and all of that stuff, and we don't want anything to do with you. But we're not going to get out ahead of you because you saw the limb off and we fall down. That's how they feel about this administration. And it's true, and unfortunately, in a lot of way, and especially with Joe Biden now greenlighting $100 million, that'll end up, as you pointed out, fungible. It'll end up in Hamas's hands, or at least it will replace money the Iranians might have diverted for a little bit of humanitarian aid so that they can concentrate fully on rockets.
This show is supported by Grand Canyon University. Founded in 1949, GCU is a private Christian university that's dedicated to delivering an affordable and transformative higher education. Their vibrant campus is located in beautiful Phoenix, Arizona. And according to niche.com, it's ranked a top 25 best campus in the country. As of June 2023, GCU offers 330 academic programs, 330, I say, and over 270 of those are available also online, allowing you the freedom to earn your degree on your time from wherever you are. You can fold it into your day where it makes sense. Their programs are also designed to challenge and inspire you. At GCU, your degree, whether it's a bachelor's, master's, or doctorate, integrates the free market system and a welcoming Christian worldview. Learn more about GCU's programs, competitive tuition rates, and scholarship offers from your university counselor. They're part of the supportive graduation team who take a personalized approach to helping you achieve your academic goals, walking alongside you every step of the way. Find your purpose at Grand Canyon University. Private, Christian, affordable. For more info or to enroll, visit gcu.edu. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.